Hello YouTubers and welcome to this video. I'm here to say a big happy birthday. Send away a big happy 70th birthday. To whom? Well, to this little fella. The vinyl record. Because it is now 70 years ago since the vinyl record was, or the commercial vinyl record was issued by Columbia Records, and according to the sources I've seen, it was today, 21st of June 1948, and that, my friend, when I record this, it's exactly 70 years ago. So, happy birthday, because in many ways I think many of you can agree on this. The vinyl record has turned into a dear friend of ours for many years. It was the great friend and source of music to most people. Then it went down in the 90s, but slowly it's been coming back, even though of course most people do not realize that it is actually the best way of listening to music. That's how it is. So, what to show in this video then? Well, I thought I went through my files and had a look on which albums are my oldest vinyl albums, and I brought out a pile and I thought I'm going to show them to you and also do some needle dropping. And this one is a record that I've showed before many times. It is Victor Borge program, orchestra under the direction of Paul Baron. It is from 1948 and it is on Columbia, of course, and it's a 10-inch record with a red label with golden printing, looks like this. It has the number CL6013 and the 6013. The 6000 series was one of the first series with pop music, not classical music, but popular music. Well, one of the first, I think it was the very first one. And this is the 13th issue in that series. And I got hold of it some years ago in great condition for being 70 years old. And of course, since I was a kid, I've been a great fan of Victor Borge, so I didn't really hesitate when I got the opportunity to buy this record. And also I got it for almost stupidly low sum. I paid almost nothing for it back then, so it was a real deal bargain. And also for the historical value, I treasure this record a lot. Right.
I don't think we will ever get that ready. He couldn't even finish it himself. Next. Oh, that's a good one. That's Franz S-L-I... Franz... No good. Too hard to spell. Next.
I do not have any records from 1949. Well, actually, I might have, but it's very difficult, or vinyl records, that is. I might have, but it's a bit tricky to date some of these earliest issues. But I think Columbia was probably the only record company that was around and issuing vinyl records in 1948-49. I might be wrong there, so don't quote me on that, but Columbia was of course dominating the field these early days. But I have some records from 1950. This is a rather worn record by Dorothea Shea and the Park Avenue Hillbillies, so it's like pop dash hillbilly music orchestra under the direction of Mitchell Ayres. Well, she was called the Park Avenue Hillbilly. I don't know that much about Dorothea Shea, but when I found it I was a bit curious and I actually like it. It's a bit of it's country music, but it's more like pop with some country elements. And it's from 1950. It has what was very typical of these early Columbia issues. It has like a company sleeve this album design, and this was how it looked in 1948 for the I think it was issued with other colors as well, and this is a similar but from 1950. No photos of the artists and so on.
In the hills of Tennessee lives a family named McGee, and they've really got a problem on their mind. For their daughter Mary Ann just can't find herself a man.
And that this is what we call album design. What is so typical about this rather worn record? Well, it is the first Swedish vinyl album. And what's so Swedish about Stan Getz? Well, of course, the recordings aren't Swedish, but the record company is Metronome Records. And they are, or at least back then they were Swedish. A newly founded record label. They started in 1949. And of course it was 78 RPMs back then. But they were the first to release a vinyl record, and a vinyl LP rather. And it was in 1950. And back in 1950, I don't know whether there actually were any record players that could play vinyl albums available on the Swedish market. So it took some time for them to get started. The second vinyl LP in the series was an album with Ralph Flanagan, and that was issued in 1951. And then I think the third one was in third was probably also 1951. So, but it didn't really. The vinyl took some years to get going in Sweden, but this was the first issue. Okay, from 1950 also, another Columbia issue with the same style of album design, a Mildred Bailey Serenade. But what's so fun with these issues are that you can actually there are lots of text written on the back sleeve, so you always get quite a lot of information about the recordings, and that's not well. Unlike the Swedish record company who had really figured this out, that the back sleeve could be used as well. Well, never mind.
I'll be around from now on. Your latest love.
Well, apart from the Swedish record, these have all been Columbia issues, but here we have a Brunswick issue from 1950. Also Louis Armstrong, jazz classics. And what do we have here? Well, we have 8 recordings from the 1920s, with early recordings with Louis Armstrong, together with Johnny Dodd's Black Bottom Stompers, Lil's Hot Shots, Erskine Tate's Vendome Orchestra, and Red Onion Jazz Babies. So it's not the most famous early Louis Armstrong tracks on this compilation. And Brunswick, this was also issued as a Brunswick 78 RPM album, because that's how the phrase album was first used, as a set of 78 records. Yep, this is the black label with golden printing, very nice. Alright, the last record that I'm going to show in this video is a 12-inch album, and it is one of the oldest 12-inchers that I've got, and this is on RCA Victor from 1951. Nanette Fabray and members of the original Broadway cast, Make a Wish. not the kind of music that I'm that interested in, but I thought this was a very nice issue, and I like the sleeve too, and it's in great condition. And it's odd to find these records that are this old and still in such a great shape. So that makes it a bit more interesting. It's nice music, of course, nice Broadway musical music, but it's not really my cup of tea. It's not what I actively look for when I'm looking for records, but this was a nice issue. And of course here they have some actual album sleeve design, particularly for this issue, which wasn't the case in many of the earlier records that I showed here.
I wanna be sweet, sweet and low. I can't abide cotton and calico. I wanna wear sable and bracelets and bangles and have a fine label on dresses with spangles.
So, with that, I'd like to say again, happy birthday, dear vinyl. We all love you and hope you have a great birthday, lots of cake, and keep working, because we know you're still alive and kicking and quite healthy after, well, these 70 years, because we keep buying you, don't we? Well, some of you don't, but those who watch this video probably keep buying you. So that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.